What's up, everybody? How's it going tonight? Happy, what do we got? Tuesday night? Woo-hoo-hoo. It is break number 807 BD. We got a case of Panini Prizm baseball hobby boxes. 12 box break. Let's get into it. There's 6. There's the next 3. That's 9. There's the next 3. That's 12. 12 boxes. Good luck, everybody. Box number 1. All right, box number 1, here we go. We got Dante Nori, Pulsar, 376 out of 499. JC Escara for the Yankees on the silver. Chase Dolander on the talisman. Give me a second, guys. There we go. We got some orange coming. Here we go. We got Starling Caba. Starling Caba, that is 218 out of 299. Gerangelo. We got a firework to Jack Leiter. Orange is Craigie Yoho for Milwaukee. Craig Yoho, 20 out of 49. Our first auto of the break is Mac Horvath. He's going to Tampa Bay. Not numbered. Prismatic of Dylan Cruz. Hopefully we're not going to struggle all day today. I seem to be struggling right now. Off to a pretty good start. Tink Hens for St. Louis. Tink Hens, that's 82 out of 499. Edgar Quiero on the Red Wave. Dingers of Tommy White. We got a redemption Next auto is a redemption. Here we go. Prospect signatures, not numbered. Prospect signatures. Card number 20, that is Roman Anthony. Roman Anthony, that's going to Boston. Darren Baker on the Pulsar, 68 of 499. Braylon Doty on the Red Wave. George Lombard Jr. Fireworks. Ryan Sandberg, rest in peace, Ryan. Great player, great second baseman, Hall of Famer, 190 out of 299. Rogers Hornsby, that's going to St. Louis. Silver Prism, Paul Skeens. Oh my goodness, these penny sleeves are not cooperating. Purple, that's Cooper Pratt. Cooper Pratt to 149, 852 out of 149. Darryl Strawberry Silver, Kim on the Talisman. We got a blue Arjun Namala, prospect for the Blue Jays. That is 163 out of 199. Our next autograph, Shinosuke Ogasawara for the Washington Nationals. This is a red auto. That is numbered 77 of 99. 77 of 99. Bryce Rainier on the Prismatic. Pulsar of Mac Horvath. That is 449 at 499. Braxton Ashcraft Silver. Franklin Arias Fireworks. All right, penny sleeves, come on. There we go. We got a blue Austin Wells. Blue Austin Wells. Is that a Charlie Condon? Charlie Condon? Or Condon? On the Mojo to 25. That is 23 out of 25. This is Austin Wells, 114 out of 199 for the Yankees. Dingers of Christian Campbell. Brett Saberhagen. That's on the Pulsar, 84 of 499. Jacob Mizorowski, silver. Christian Campbell on the Talisman. Pablo Sandoval, red. That is 62 out of 299 for the Giants. Dylan Cruz, red wave. Jesus Made on the blue Talisman. That is 26 out of 99. And that is box number 1. Box number 2. Alright, box number 2, here we go. Connor Griffin on the Pulsar. 402 of 499. Matt Wieters, Silver Prism. Roman Anthony on the Dingers. We got a purple Gary Sheffield. Purple Gary Sheffield, 20 out of 149. Our Cherry Blossom is Prince Fielder going to Milwaukee. Walter Schmidt on the Fireworks. Prince Fielder on the Cherry Blossom, 9 out of 20. 9 out of 20. Red, Kyle DeBarge, Minnesota. That is 140 out of 299. Jack Morris, Silver Prism. Paul Skeens, Prismatic. That is our first auto of this box. Kellen Lindsey for the Dodgers. Kellen Lindsey. This is a Prospect Prism auto, not numbered. Kyler. Kiki Kyler for the Pirates. 342 out of 499. Trey Savage on the Red Wave. Charlie Condon. Checkerboard, that is Jadixon. Jadixon Paez. That's for the Red Sox. That is 53 of 99. You got a Silver Prism of Wyatt Sanford for Pittsburgh. Leo DeVries on the Dingers. Starlin Caba, blue. That is 69 out of 199. And we have a Mojo auto to 25 of Noble Mayer. Noble Mayer for the Miami Marlins. 19 out of 25. 19 out of 25. Charlie on the Fireworks. Roger Clemens for Toronto, 43 of 499. Jonathan Silver Prism. Jace Young on the Prismatic. Green Scope of Mac Horvath. 43 of 75. That is Theo Gillen on the Red Wave. James Wood, Dingers. Red, Darren Baker. That is 85 of 299. Barry Larkin, Silver. DeVries on the Prismatic. Joe Sewell for Cleveland. 427 of 499. J.D. Dix for the Diamondbacks. Christian Campbell Prismatic. Paul O'Neill Purple. That is 43 of 149. Connor Griffin on the Silver Prism. Nick Kurtz Talisman. Walker Janik. That is 236 out of 299. Our last auto is a Pulsar auto of Cooper Ingle for Cleveland. That one is numbered 63 out of 199. Manny Ramirez on the Dingers. Box number 3. Box number 3, here we go. Blue, that's Jonah Tong. 82 to 199. Christian Moore on the Silver Prism for the Angels. Christian Campbell Prismatic. Pulsar, Christy Mathewson. That is 158 or 499 for the Giants. Our first auto of this box, Gabriel Hughes. That's going to Colorado. It's a red auto to 99. That is 16 out of 99. 16 out of 99. Fireworks, Cam Smith. Purple, Mike Schmidt, 58 of 149. Tony Perez, Silver Prism. Vance Honeycutt on the dingers. My penny sleeves keep sticking together. Red, that's Luke Dickerson for Washington. 296 out of 299. Hyung-Suk Jang for the Dodgers Red Wave. Jace Young. Braylon Payne to 499 for Milwaukee. 113 of 499 on the Pulsar. That's a Silver Prism of Dylan Cruz. Prismatic Kyle Teal. There is Jacob Wilson on the Pulsar auto for the A's. Jacob Wilson to 199. 171 of 199. Nice hit for the A's. Gil Hodges for Brooklyn Dodgers. Checkerboard. That is 18 out of 99. 18 out of 99. Aaron Escobar. Red Wave. Carson Bench Fireworks. Thomas Harrington. That is 81 out of 199. Willie Stargell on the Silver Prism. Dingers of Manny Ramirez. Pulsar of Paul Skeens. That is 11 out of 499. And that is for the Angels. That is Nolan Shanuel. Nolan Shanuel on the auto for the Angels. This one is not numbered auto. Nice hit for the Halos. It's the only hit they've had all season. Man, they need to rebuild that team. Think about it. They had Trout in his prime and they had Shohei. Whew. Talk about falling on hard times. Alright, green scope of Robin Yount for Milwaukee. 19 of 75. Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. Leo DeVries on the Prismatic. Harry Ford, 236 out of 299. Likes to sign his cards. Jesus loves you. Larry Walker on the Red Wave. Dingers of James Wood. Ty Cobb, Detroit. That is 454 out of 499. Larry Walker. This one's going to Larry Walker to St. Louis. Jace Young on the Prismatic. When I think Larry Walker, I think Colorado legend. Josue De Paula for the Dodgers, 109 out of 149. Lou Gehrig right there on the Red Wave. And we got a Prismatrix of Dylan. Oh, this is a prismatic color. This isn't a Prismatrix. It's not an auto, but that is a nice prismatic to 199 of Dylan Cruz. 142 out of 199. Perfect timing. Same as always, these are top load, these are Tennessee. If you want to take them, if not.
No,
yeah.
These are top loaded, those are greased.
Correct.
Okay, just so I know for next time.
Yeah. Box number 4. Box number 4. All right, box number 4. Box number 4, you guys. Here we go. That's Gerangelo on the red. That is 115 out of 299. Our first auto is Dylan Dreeling. That is not numbered. That is going to Texas. Dylan Dreeling on the auto for Texas. Dingers of Vlad Guerrero Sr. Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta, 17 of 499. Juan Valera for Boston on the silver. Jesus Made. We got a checkerboard. That is Dylan Head for Miami. Dylan Head for Miami, 6 out of 99. We have an orange, Braden Taylor for Tampa Bay. That is to 49. We got 14 out of 49 there. Bazana on the prismatic. Kobe Mayo blue. That is a 108 out of 199. Brock Porter on the silver prism. Fireworks of Christian Moore. Owen Kesse. That is 9 out of 499. Harmon Killebrew on the red wave. That is George Lombard Jr. on the prismatic to 199 for the Yankees. That is numbered, oh, sorry, this is to 99 actually, and it's a bookend. 99 of 99, nice hit for the Yankees. Jackson Churio, that is red, 184 out of 299. Paul O'Neill silver prism, dingers of Rintaro Sasaki. Rintaro Sasaki is going to the non-MLB other spot. Zach Veen going to Colorado, 218 out of 499. And our next auto, Victor Hurtado. That is for the Washington Nationals. That is not numbered on the auto. Talisman of Colson Montgomery. Jace Young, that is to 12 out of 149 for the Detroit Tigers. Harry Ford on the Silver Prism. Fireworks of Yongsung Kim for the Dodgers. Or Haesung Kim. Leo DeVries, red, 114 out of 299. Kevin McGonigal, red wave. Bubba Chandler. Joe DiMaggio, 10 out of 499. Bronson Arroyo, Silver Prism for the Red Sox. Deion Sanders for the Yankees. Our first, another auto for this box, Chase Burns. There's a nice Prism auto right there. Prospect Chase Burns, Cincinnati Reds. Green scope, that is Cash Mayfield. Cash Mayfield on the green scope, 64 of 75. 64 of 75 going to San Diego. Rentaro Sasaki on the red wave. Fireworks of Paul Skeens. Dante Nori. That is 39 of 199. Tony Olivia on the Silver Prism. James Tibbs on the Dingers. And that is box 4. Box number 4. Done and dusted. Box number 5. We got our goofy pack. There is our Color Blast. Color Blast in this box. Which means our checkerboard should probably be in here also. And there it is. Checkerboard. I mean, not checkerboard, snakeskin. Excuse me, snakeskin. We'll start with this one. Here we go. Deion Sanders on the Pulsar. That is 53 of 499. We got a redemption. Fireworks of Cam Caminiti. Chase Dolander on the purple. That is 21 of 149. 21 of 149. Bobby Richardson on the silver prism. Jacob Wilson on the talisman. Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt, 225 out of 299. Levi Sterling. Red Wave. Fireworks of Cam Smith. Our redemption, we'll use Mike Schmidt. Sensational Signatures. Sensational Signatures, card number 3. That is Dylan Head. Dylan Head. I am going to look this up because I know that he got traded to Miami. So I'm going to verify this with the checklist. 2025 Panini Prizm. 2025 Panini Prizm baseball checklist. This is a sensational signature. Card number 3, Dylan Head, Miami Marlins. I was correct. So this is going to Miami. It is also not numbered. Sammy Sosa on the Pulsar, 313 out of 499. Yordani Monegro. Yordani Monegro on the silver prism. Dingers of James Wood. That is a Jonah Tong for the Mets. Jonah Tong for the Mets on the auto, not numbered. Jesus Made on the checkerboard to 99. That's 97 out of 99. Mariano Rivera on the red wave. Jace Young on the prismatic. We got a blue Greg Maddux. That is 62 of 199. Ryan Sandberg silver prism. Fireworks of Charlie Condon. Alright, we got our snake skin at the bottom of this one. Then we have our color blast at the bottom of the next stack. We got Thomas Harrington. Thomas Harrington, 133 out of 499. How about Tomoyuki Sagano for Baltimore on the Pulsar Auto? 185 out of 199. Leo DeVries Talisman. We got a green scope of Bryce Matthews. That's to 75. That's for Houston. 9 out of 75. Here we go. Good luck on the snakeskin. Chase Burns on the fireworks. Miguel Tejada going to Oakland. Prismatic Seaver King. We got a red Brock Porter. Red Brock Porter. It's not a rookie on the snakeskin. That is Ben Hess, Yankees prospect. No rookie symbol on it. That is Ben Hess for the Yankees. He's actually had a really helpful for the Yankees. Ben Hess on the snakeskin. And let's go ahead and get the next stand ready, because our color blast is coming next. Good luck. Alex Rodriguez, that is 245 out of 499. Ethan Holiday, Silver Prism going to the other non-MLB spot. Marcelo Mayer on the dingers. Bud Seeley going to the other non-MLB spot. That is a blue, 190 out of 199. Chris Cortez, Silver Prism. Talisman of Ethan Salas. That's Darren Baker. That is red. Darren Baker, 163 out of 299. Nelson Cruz, red wave. And our color blast is Paul Skeens for Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens on the color blast for Pittsburgh. That is sick. Paul Skeens color blast. Last year's Rookie of the Year in the NL. That is crazy good. Box number 6. We still haven't had a legend signature either. We're due. We are due for a legend signature. Let's go. All right, box number 6. That's Shoeless Joe Jackson, 289 out of 299. Ken Griffey Sr. on the Silver Prism. Luis Angel Acuna on the Talisman. Andy Pettit. Andy Pettit, that is 357 out of 499. Cal Ripken Jr. on the Red Wave. Miggy on the Dingers. Checkerboard of Al Kaline for Detroit. That is 98 out of 99. Hagen Smith Silver Prism for the White Sox. Nick Kurtz for the A's. Our first auto, that's James Tibbs III. That's going to the Giants. Prospect auto, not numbered. Brooks Lee for Minnesota. That is blue to 199. 109 of 199. Paul Konerko for the Dodgers on the Red Wave. Kumar Rocker on the Prismatic. Silver, Mariano Rivera. Bryce Eldridge on the Talisman. That's Jake Peavy on the purple. Jake Peavy on the purple. 128 of 149. Our next auto. That is Brooks Lee for the Minnesota Twins. Sensational signatures. Hideki Matsui on the Dingers. James Triantos. James Triantos for the Cubs, 156 out of 499. Robin Ventura, that's 59 of 299. Kendall George for the Dodgers, Prospect Silver Prism. Fireworks of Rhett Lauder for the Reds. That's Lou Gehrig for the Yankees, that's 269 out of 499. Tony Perez on the Red Wave. Prismatic of Braden Montgomery for the White Sox. We got orange of Bronson Arroyo for the Red Sox. 35 of 49. Billy Amick, that is for Minnesota, silver. Bryce Rainier for Detroit on the Talisman. Pedro Martinez, that is 148 at 299. Carter Jensen on the Red Wave. That's Travis Bazana on the Fireworks. That one is 113 out of 199. Greg Maddux on the Pulsar, 82 of 499. Justin Upton silver. James Wood on the Fireworks. Bubba Chandler blue. Bubba Chandler blue. That is a talisman of Jack Leiter. And our last auto of box number 6. It's red to 99. And it is Christian Scott for the Mets. Christian Scott for the Mets. Nice picture. 99 out of 99. That is on the eBay 1 of 1 bookend. Box number 7. Alright, box number 7 of 12. Brady Ebel, that's going to the other non-MLB spot. That's 174 of 199. That's a Yankee auto of J.C. Escara. J.C. Escara, this one is not numbered. Slade Caldwell on the fireworks. Chase DeLauder. That is 63 of 499. Caleb Lomavita on the silver prism. For Washington, Braden Montgomery on the dingers. Looks like we have some gold. We have some gold. We got a talisman of Marcelo Mayer. We got Luis Baez on the purples, 56 out of 149. And our gold goes to the Yankees. That is a Yogi Berra gold. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 Yogi Berra. Nice hit for the Yankees. Kalen Culpepper, Minnesota, 36 out of 299. Jacob Mizorowski, Milwaukee, silver prism. James Triantos, the Cubs. Cole Young, Seattle, 497 out of 499. Tink Hens, St. Louis. That's a Dingers of Braden Montgomery red. That's a red Dingers, 181 out of 199. That goes to the White Sox. Green scope of Benito Santiago going to the Giants. 17 of 75. Dontrell Willis on the Silver Prism. Kellen Lindsay on the Fireworks. $17 out of $75 on the Benito Santiago. Benny and the Jets. Or is it Benny and the Giants? Alright, here we go. Miles Naylor, that is 262 out of 299. Jackson Wiggins for the Cubs on the autograph, not numbered. That is Cam Smith on the Dingers. Zebby Matthews, that is 14 out of 499 for Minnesota.
Top load right there.
Yeah.
Let me see
Yeah.
top load.
Uh-huh. Jarlin Susana on the Silver Prism. Dylan Cruz on the Talisman. We got an orange of Jeff Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell on the orange. That is 48 of 49. John Smoltz on the Red Wave. Christian Moore on the Prismatic. Adrian Gonzalez for the Padres, 76 of 199. Josué Gonzalez on the Silver Prism for the Dodgers. For the Giants. Dingers of Jace Lavalette going to the non-MLB spot. Next auto, that is Michael Jack Schmidt. Mike Schmidt on the auto. Legend signature. Not numbered. Very nice. We got Lou Gehrig here. Lou Gehrig. That is 271 out of 499. Alejandro Rosario for Texas. Red Wave. Prismatic of Hayden Miller. Purple. Prince Fielder. Going to Milwaukee. 129 out of 149. Hideki Matsui for the Yankees. Silver Prism. Firework of Tommy White. Box number 8. All right, box number 8. Here we go. Emilian Petrie, Tampa Bay. That's 18 out of 299. Michael Young on the silver prism for Texas. Seaver King prismatic. Luis Angel Acuna for the Mets, 485 out of 499. Kiki Kyler, Red Wave. Leo DeVries, Talisman. That is Aaron Escobar. Aaron Escobar, 13 out of 49. That's for Philadelphia. Ryan Clifford for the Mets, silver. Dylan Cruz on the dingers. That's Jace Lavalette on the auto going to the non-MLB other spot. Not numbered on that. Ozzie Smith on the blue. That is 14 out of 199. Robin Ventura, Red Wave. James Tibbs, Fireworks. Mike Schmidt. That is 55 out of 499. Adrian Gonzalez, silver. Jesus Made on the prismatic. Griff O'Farrell, that's going to Baltimore. 143 out of 149. Our next auto, that's Carson Benj going to the Mets, not numbered. Ethan Holiday on the dingers for the non-MLB spot. That's Ricky Tiedemann for Toronto, 211 out of 299. Carter Holton for Atlanta, silver. Cam Smith on the prismatic. Earl Combs for the Yankees, that is 270 out of 499. Tom Glavine on the Red Wave. Roman Anthony on the Talisman. Checkerboard of Ethan Anderson for Baltimore, 84 of 99. Luke Dickerson, that is on the silver for Washington. Dingers of Jim Thome for Cleveland. Ty Cobb, that's going to Detroit, 43 of 199. Tom Seaver on the Red Wave for the Mets. Ryan Waldschmidt for Arizona. That is a blue firework. That blue firework is 95 out of 99. Pulsar of George Lombard for the Yankees, 400 out of 499. We got Drew Burris, that's going to the non-MLB spot. Chase Dollander on the fireworks. We had one more auto. Here we go. Connor Griffin. There's Carter Jensen for Kansas City. Carter Jensen, that's 260 out of 299. Our last auto is Grady Sizemore for the Cleveland Guardians. Grady Sizemore, not numbered, on the sensational signature. Box number 9. All right, box number 9. Jackson Churio for Milwaukee, 130 out of 199. Bryce Matthews for Houston, silver. Albert Pujols on the dingers. Ryan Zimmerman, that is 392 out of 499. We got a mojo of Adam Jones for Baltimore to 25. 22 out of 25. Nice hit for Baltimore. Sammy Sosa, Slammin' Sammy 44 149. Randy Johnson, silver prism. Spencer Jones for the Yankees on the talisman. Arjun Namala on the auto for Toronto. Arjun Namala not numbered on the sensational signature. Jacob Mizorowski on the red, 109 out of 299, Milwaukee. Christian Moore for the Angels. Reggie Jackson, that's dingers for the Yankees. Ozzie Smith on the Pulsar, that is 94 out of 499. Grover Alexander on the silver for the Cubs. Carson Williams on the fireworks, that is for Tampa Bay. Green scope, Dante Nori, that is for the Phillies. Chase Burns on the prismatic, 5 out of 75. And our next auto goes to, that is for the Texas Rangers. That's Sebastian Walcott. Sebastian Walcott, Pulsar auto, 2 out of 199. 2 of 199. Andy Pettit, that is 20 out of 299. Zach Dean on the Silver Prism. Christian Campbell on the Talisman. Sammy Sosa, that is 412 out of 499. Carson Williams on the Red Wave. Christian Campbell on the Dingers. Paul O'Neill on the blue for the Yankees, 189 out of 199. Jet Williams for the Mets. Franklin Arias Fireworks. Dick Allen for the Phillies. Dick Allen, 77 of 499. Bob Gibson, Red Wave. Roman Anthony, Red Dingers to 199. That is 56 of 199. Dick Allen on the purple to 149. That is 60 out of 149. Josh Gibson going to the non-MLB spot. Silver Prism. That is Bryce Rainier on the Prismatic. Got a couple of Dick Allens on that little pull there. Got a Mojo. Is that a Mojo Auto? It is a Mojo Auto. Hai Song Kim on the Talisman. That is Ryan Johnson for the Angels. Ryan Johnson for the Angels, 225 out of 299. And we got a Mojo Auto to 25 of Walker Martin for the Giants. Walker Martin for the Giants, sensational signature. That one is 25 out of 25 for the G-Men. 25 out of 25 Mojo Auto. Box number 10. Box number 10. Box number 10. Green scope of Cole Young for Seattle. 62 of 75. Our next auto, Ethan Anderson for Baltimore. Not numbered. Talisman of Jack Leiter. Harmon Killebrew for the Twins. 234 out of 299. Miles Naylor on the Silver Prism. James Wood Fireworks. Hyun-Suk Shang for the Dodgers. That one is 202 of 499. Mike Piazza on the Mojo to 25, 13 of 25. That's for the Mets. Bryce Rainier for Detroit. Need some more cherry blossoms and some more gold. Kevin McGonigal, that is for Detroit, 186 out of 199. Braylon Payne on the Silver Prism. Braden Montgomery, Prismatic. Josh Gibson, that is for the non-MLB, 289 out of 499. Yadi Molina on the Red Wave. And that is a Pulsar Prismatic of Dylan Cruz to 25. Pulsar Prismatic, 19 out of 25. 19 of 25. That is a nice hit for Washington. Carter Johnson, purple, 120 out of 149. Jake Arrieta, silver. Red Louder, firework. Jeff Bagwell, that is 185 out of 299. Our next auto is Hunter Holland. Hunter Holland, that's for the Cincinnati Reds, and that's a blue auto, 30 out of 49. 30 out of 49 for Cincinnati. Dingers of Hideki Matsui. Junior Caminero, that is 6 out of 499. Ken Griffey Sr. silver. Bryce Eldridge on the Talisman. Checkerboard of Andy Van Slyke, 41 of 99. Levi Wells, Red Wave. Kumar Rocker, Prismatic. Deion Sanders for Atlanta, that's blue, 67 of 199. Dylan Cruz, silver prism. Nick Kurtz on the fireworks. That is a Reggie Jackson blue auto to 49. Reginald Jackson, 5 out of 49. Sorry, Mr. Schmidt, you gotta go. There we go. Now that is sick right there. That is a sick auto. Reggie Jackson, blue to 49. And that's going to Oakland, not the Yankees. Going to Oakland. Nice hit for the A's. Bob Gibson on the red wave. Dingers of Miggy. Miguel Cabrera, 287 out of 299. Brett Saberhagen silver. Luis Angel Acuna. Some more top loaders. Yes, that is blah. That is Skeens on the Color Blast, and Reggie Jackson for the Oakland A's on the auto to 49. Reggie Jackson to 49 and Paul Skeens Color Blast. Sick. Sick hits. Last two boxes. Box number 11. I was just saying we hadn't had a nice legend auto yet, and then all of a sudden, bang. We get Mike Schmidt, and then after that, Reggie Jackson. Box number 11. Here we go. Leo DeVries, 55 out of 149. Harry Ford on the auto. Apparently, he didn't have time or didn't sign it. Jesus loves you. Jesus Made on the talisman. Or maybe Prizm told him not to. Ethan Holiday, 265 out of 299. Red Lauder on the silver. Maybe he was only doing that for Leaf. Bazana on the prismatic. There's another cherry blossom. We got Will Wagner. Will Wagner, 362 out of 499. And Dylan Head for Miami, 10 out of 20. Christian Moore on the fireworks. Checkerboard of Carter Johnson for Miami, 38 of 99. Don Drysdale, silver. Dingers of Rintaro Sasaki. Darryl Strawberry, 59 of 199 for the Mets. Thomas Sagasi on the red wave. That's Travis Bazana on the fireworks red, 75 of 199. Kiki Kyler. Kiki Kyler, that's 133 out of 499. Monty Irvin for the Giants. Colson Montgomery on the Talisman. Benito Santiago, 287 out of 299. Justin Reamer, that's for the Red Sox on the auto, not numbered. Hai Song Kim, fireworks for the Dodgers. That is Harry Ford, 189 out of 499. Ventura on the Silver Prism. Talisman of Bubba Chandler. Chase Davis. Purple, 134 to 149. Randy Johnson on the Red Wave. Prismatic of Dion for the Yankees. Malcolm Moore, Texas, 240 out of 299. Ozzie Smith, silver. Paul Skeens, fireworks. Is that a Prismatrix auto? It is. Prismatrix auto. That is Pudge Rodriguez going to Texas. Pudge Rodriguez, 11 out of 99. 11 out of 99, Pudge Rodriguez, Prismatrix auto. Roger Clemens to 499, 442 out of 499, Texas. I'm sorry, Toronto. Deion Sanders, Red Wave, Dingers of James Tibbs. We got a green scope of Elston Howard for the Yankees, 31 of 75. Ching San Ko for the Dodgers, silver. Travis Bazzana. And that was box number 11. Box number 11. One box to go. Box number 12. Here we go, guys. Good luck. Last two boxes. Or last box. Last 12 packs. James Triantos, 420 out of 499. Colin Hawk for the Mets. Chase Dollander on the Prismatic. Jonathan for the Mets. 111 of 199. Christy Mathewson on the silver. Dingers of David Ortiz. Christy Mathewson going to the Giants. Green scope of Aaron Escobar. 41 of 75. Benito Santiago. That's on the red wave. That is Dylan Cruz on the blue talisman. That should be to 99. 72 of 99. Nice hit for the Washington Nationals. Luke Keyshaw, Minnesota, 232 out of 499. Andrew Walters, silver prism for Cleveland. George Lombard for the Yankees. Christian Campbell, that is 209 out of 299 for the Red Sox. Braxton Ashcraft for Pittsburgh, 13 out of 49. Connor Griffin. We got 7 packs left. 2 autos left in those 7 packs. Pack number 6. Ken Griffey Sr. That is 60 out of 149. Miles Naylor. Kalen Culpepper on the dingers. Six packs to go. 2 autos. That is a Mojo auto here. Mojo auto. I'll leave that right there. Chase Dolander. That's Jacob Mizorowski. Jacob Mizorowski covering up our Mojo auto to 25. Larry Walker. Larry Walker, 70 of 299. Pudge Rodriguez, silver prism. Dylan Cruz, prismatic. Bud Selig. Jacob Wilson's covering up our second auto. We have 2 autos left. One is not numbered. One is a Mojo to 25. Yordani Monegro. Jack Leiter Fireworks. Your last 2 autos are on the table. Jack Morris, blue. Jack Morris, 75 of 199. Johan Santana on the silver prism. Tommy White on the dingers. 2 packs left. And then our 2 autos. 2 packs and 2 autos. Checkerboard of Roberto Clemente. Nice one. 98 of 99. Roy Campanella, Red Wave. Paul Skeens on the Talisman. Last pack, and then we have our 2 autos. Last pack, and then we have our 2 autos. Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. on the Pulsar. 109 of 499. That's Rintaro Sasaki on the Silver Prism for the non-MLB. George Lombard on the Fireworks. Here we go. Jacob Wilson first. Jacob Wilson hiding our non-numbered auto. 316 out of 499 on the Jacob Wilson. Our auto is for the non-MLB other spot. That is Brady Ebel. Brady Ebel. Nice auto. Jacob Mizorowski to 499 for Milwaukee. Hiding our Mojo Auto. 119 out of 499. That is 19 out of 499. And our Mojo Auto is for Atlanta. Cam Caminiti. Cam Caminiti. Sensational signature. That is 20 out of 25 for the Braves. 20 of 25 for the Braves. And that, my friends, is your break. As always, we're going to recap everything. All right, recap time. All right, 3 stacks for my little Tyrannosaurus Rex hands. Here we go. Good luck. Well, good luck. Here's a recap. There's no luck needed. It's already done. All right, here we go, guys. These are all to $4.99. These are to $2.99. These are to $1.99. Travis Bazana on the Fireworks. Dingers of Roman Anthony. Dingers of Braden Montgomery. Travis Bazzana again on the fireworks. Prismatic of Dylan Cruz. These are the 149. /99, Roberto Clemente. Talisman of Dylan Cruz, Carter Johnson, Andy Van Slyke. Fireworks of Ryan Waldschmidt. Ethan Anderson, Al Kaline, Jesus May, George Lombard on the Prismatic. Dylan Head, Gil Hodges, Jadixon Paez, and Jesus May Talisman. Green /75, Aaron Escobar, Elston Howard, Cole Young, Dante Nori, Benito Santiago, Bryce Matthews, Cash Mayfield rounding out, and Mac Horvath. Orange, 49. That is Braxton Ashcraft, Aaron Escobar, Jeff Bagwell, Bronson Arroyo, Braden Taylor, and Craig Yoho. Mojo /25, Prismatic of Dylan Cruz, Mike Piazza, Adam Jones, and Charlie Condon. Cherry Blossom, we got Dylan Head and Prince Fielder. We have only one gold in the break. That is Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra for the Yankees. Our non-numbered autos. Here we go. Brady Ebel, Colin Hawk, Justin Reamer, Harry Ford, Mike Schmidt, Ethan Anderson, Arjun Namala, Grady Sizemore, Carson Benj, Jace Lavalette, Jackson Wiggins, JC Escara. We got Brooks Lee, James Tibbs, Jonah Tong, Chase Burns, Victor Hurtado, Dylan Dreeling, Nolan Chanuel, Kellen Lindsay, Matt Horvath, Roman Anthony for Boston on the redemption, and Dylan Head for Miami on the redemptions. Pulsar Autos, Sebastian Walcott, Yuki Sagano, Jacob Wilson, and Cooper Ingle. Those are /199. /99 on the red autos, we got Christian Scott, Gabriel Hughes, Shinosuke Ogasawara, and Yvonne Pudge Rodriguez. We got one blue auto /49. That's Hunter Holland. Mojo Autos, we got Cam Caminiti, Walker Martin, and Noble Mayer. Our big hits of the break, we had a snake skin of Ben Hess, rookie prospect for the New York Yankees. Reggie Jackson on the legendary blue signature /49 for the Oakland Athletics. And our hit of the break, on the color blast, that is Paul Skeens. There you go, my friends. There's your break. Hope you guys had some fun. Hope you guys hit something. Hope to see you all next time. Have yourselves a great afternoon. I will talk to you later. Peace.